Okay, whenever you are ready.
Okay, so in today's modern society, it has become more and more common for people to become dependent upon technology. Due to this, when one's device ceases to work, they act as if the world is about to end. Although, is it really that big of a deal? Is it really a tragedy? Will it affect our future? Due to the dependence upon technology, people have become spoiled, and as a result, their image of tragedy has become tremendously skewed. With all this being said, what is a tragedy? How would you define it? Dictionary.com defines tragedy as a dramatic composition, often in verse, dealing with a serious or somber theme. I would like to first focus upon breaking down this definition. Dealing with a serious or somber theme. Okay, so let's focus on this part first. Serious or somber can be classified as like a civil war or like a government overthrow, not as much as breaking a phone, laptop, or even fighting with friends. And next, let's focus on the somber theme, which is like references sad or unhappy feelings. In today's society, we normally like accustom that to maybe not doing well on a test or maybe like breaking technology. Although like those aren't actually what a sad theme is. Which again relates to events such as that. Although with this all being said, everyone's views upon tragedy vary. Along with everyone being different, the way they both react and deal with these events can change. Although I do believe technology has greatly skewed modern society's views on what a tragedy is, and as a result caused many to become so self-centered they forget to give back not only to the ones they love, but also forget what's going on around in the world around us. So all because we're unable to put our phones down, turn off our laptops and TVs, and look at the world in the big picture, we're unable to help others. Through both reading as well as research, I was able to get a better view into the variations within Western and Eastern societies' views. While reading the novel Prisoner of Tehran, one gets an insight into the life of a woman surrounded by government turmoil. Marina Newmont went through what many describe as hell, but to her it was just life that she lived. Marina faced things which many of us can only imagine in our worst nightmares. She was not only forced to live in a place with unjust violence against civilians, she was put through hell. She was first, to overview the story, she grew up in Tehran, which had a government overthrow, so she was standing up for what she believed was right. As a result, she was then thrown into prison. She was then released early because she married one of the guards. Her husband was then assassinated, and she was later then thrown back into prison. It was only after her second release she was able to find a husband and escape this turmoil that she was surrounded with. So if this is not hell, I'm not sure what is. Now let's relate her struggles to what an average person here in Canada would face. Have any of us ever had our human rights infringed on? Now let's step up. Have anyone wrongly in prison for speaking out against a corrupt government or something that was wrong? No. Maybe some of you read such things in novels, on the news, or talk about it in class such as world issues, but it never becomes anything more than a one-time thing. The majority of people within our current society will forget about reading these things in a matter of days. Before you know it, we are complaining about our phones not working or having to go to school. We easily forget that people the same age as us are dealing with things much, much worse. Now, many can relate to moving, and even a couple can relate to moving from a different country, although this is more than just a move for her. Let's look deeper in behind the reasons that she was forced to move. Many of us move with our family for job opportunities, but now let's relate this back to the novel. Marina Newmont did not move because of job opportunities. She did not move because she wanted to. She was pretty much forced to move for safety. Her and her family had to move. It was no longer a thing of choice. I believe that people in Western society have become very focused on itself. We use technology for all the wrong reasons. Therefore, we take granted the security and life in which we were born into. We tend to forget the freedom and equality that many of us have, and forget that people around the world still are fighting for the same thing we have. And many of us can't even imagine life without our computers, our cell phones, or TV. We become addicted, as many might say. We are most worried about the latest gossip than we are the big picture. We have it set in our mind that we will never have to go through a life like Marina's. Although our life is very real for many, yet we just seem to not be able to understand this. Many of us see the commercials on TV for people starving in Africa or people struggling in life, but many of us will just change the channel or brush it off. In today's society, it's become more and more prevalent how people have become spoiled because we don't not truly understand what is important. As a result, many people do not appreciate the small things, such as a stable home or never having to worry about being killed when you're walking around town. Despite that idea seeming unrealistic, it is true. The novelist Celeste of Sarajevo follows a family through their struggles to escape and keep their family safe from the war which engulfs them. Keon, which is the main character throughout the story, is forced to go through hell. He becomes so accustomed to the danger that surrounds him that it becomes normal to him. It becomes something as his day-to-day routine. As we would go brush our teeth and come to school, he would deal with all the struggles in his life. Now, do we ever fear walking outside our house in Canada? No. But why is this? Because we live in a stable country where everyone is equal and the chance of war is next to none. Now let's imagine a life much different than this. Let's relate it back to Keon's life, like something close to his. Put yourself in his shoes. The world around us has greatly changed. You no longer went to school, but instead you're at home fearing for your life every day. Frozen with fear for not only yourself, but for the safety of your family. Your brothers and sisters can't go outside and play, not because of the weather, but because just outside your door there may be a bomb waiting for you. Imagine a world where your family leaves the house, there's a good chance you might never see them again. This may seem silly to imagine, although this is the reality for people all around the world. Let's think, how often have you ever thought of how fortunate we are? For many people, this thought very rarely crosses their minds, and that's the problem with us. We're too busy focusing on what's not perfect, rather than stopping and thinking about what really is in front of us. You may notice many of us can't even imagine that situation. This is mainly due when we do imagine, we think of movies or TVs or the news that we see, and we don't think of how it may really affect us in our daily lives. Yes, our life is not perfect, but we've been blessed with what we have. So we tend to make our problems a lot more worse or exemplify them. With this sense of inability to realize what's in front of us, we tend to not think through our past and learn from it. Let's begin with our way back to what our grandparents and great-grandparents have done for us. Many of our relatives played a part in Canada's efforts in World War I and World War II. Many of these relatives, let's just take a moment to think of what they went through and the results of their lack of selfishness. Let's begin with the several things that they sacrificed to go. They left behind their families. They left their families for a place far worse than many could imagine. They left safe homes for trenches, mustard gas, and gunfire. They left a perfectly good home to go to this hell, not only for their country, but to help pave a way for a better future. That future that they helped pave a way to is the country that we live in today. Now let's ask ourselves, would we do the same thing in the position we are now? Would we drop everything that we have to go fight for something that may not directly affect us, but affect our future, like our future family? This act itself is extremely unselfish and is a trait which tends to be disappearing within the youth of our country. We tend to be too focused upon ourselves and our technology to help out a friend, or the bigger picture, donate something that may not benefit us. We tend to forget rather than learn, and from this comes the inability to become better people for tomorrow. This all relates back to the youth's reliance and pure focus upon technology, and its enormous influence upon them. Children and young adults nowadays are glued to their devices, and many can barely leave the house. After generations of technology integrated, it is clear the enormous change in today's youth. We went back from when our kids were young, where everyone would go outside and play games with their friends, to now it's all cyber. We'll sit on our Xboxes, PlayStation 3s, and communicate all through technology. Texting, Facebook, all of that has greatly changed the way we not only interact, but see the world. Though digging deeper, I've come to my conclusion. Technology may have brought several bonuses, as the ability to connect with friends and family, although I feel it also brought even worse detriments to our society. It has not allowed us to realize the true importance of things within life. The youth are too busy with Facebook, Twitter, and television, not only to understand but appreciate what they have. Many can't imagine life without their technology, and frankly, when do you ever hear young adults discussing ways to better tomorrow? When you hear them ever discuss something that may not benefit them, but benefit the people around them? I feel that young adults and children should be aware of global problems and way to make these minute changes to the way the youth look at the world could make a huge difference in our future, not only for us, but for the world around us. We can use these technologies for better things, like I said earlier, instead of using to discuss about what's going on in like TV, like All Stars, we could be using it to promote awareness. There are some, like even clubs at our school that'll help promote it, but as you can tell, there's not many members of it, and it's not as widely accepted. So in order for us to better, we should be using Twitter, Facebook, and all that to not only like promote like the word to all our friends, but to family as well, and people you may not know. So to promote awareness, help the people in need rather than gossip. So let's change the path we're on. Let's use technology today to spread awareness of ways to better the world for tomorrow. Not only for us, but for our children that will be coming.